Здравейте, добра вечер, сти 24 май. Няма да правя дълго включване, защото вече направих 2 клипчета, не знам в каква поредност ще ги пусна. Само искам да ви поздравя, да ви почерпя с едно забавно клипче, което ще следва след моите думи. И то е невероятното интервю на Тъкър Карлсън с Цезар. Цезар, командир, военачалник, диктатор на легионът на Цезар, който владее Колорадо, Аризона, Мохаве. Да кажем, протагонистите в антагонисти, може би, в Fallout New Vegas. Защо искам да го кажа? Защото доста приятно интервю, закачка с интервюто на Тъкър Карлсън с Путин, но не само. И защото успях да изгледам още един епизод на шоуто на Amazon Prime, по Fallout. Да, хареса ми. Видях, че съм имал някакви заблуди. Първият епизод на това е, че всъщност филма се развива в Калифорния. Не знам, защото си мислех, че е в Филаделфия, в Флорида. Може би заради името на поселището Фили, но my bad. И така, дано ви хареса. Дано ви хареса тази качка и приятно вечер.
The following is an interview with Caesar, the leader of the Legion faction. This was shot during the year 2281, around 7 p.m., within the confines of Fortification Hill. The interview, if you watch it, is primarily about the war with the NCR, how it started, and presently, how it might end. One note before you watch. At the beginning of the interview, we asked the most obvious question. Why are your tactics for taking over Mojave so barbaric? Why conquer a land using the teachings of a bygone era? And what is his endgame for all this? The answer we got shocked us. Caesar went on for a very long time, probably half an hour, about the history of the Roman Empire, how he incorporated their teachings into his army, and how he founded the Legion. And honestly, we thought that he was doing this as some sort of filibustering technique. We found it very annoying and interrupted him a couple of times. He also mentioned that he was also very annoyed by our interruption and threatened to have his Praetorians hack me to death. And so, to avoid having my legs smashed in like that loser back in Nipton, I let Caesar continue to tell his story. But in the end, after reviewing the footage, we concluded that this was not a filibustering technique. There was no time limit in this interview, but unfortunately, we had to end it after an hour as he complained of having headaches and that he needed to lay down. But having said that, we concluded that he was being sincere. Whether you believe him or not, Caesar wants to conquer the new California Republic and merge its civil institutions and infrastructure with the military strength of the Legion, creating a new totalitarian empire. So our opinion would be to view it in a light as a sincere expression of what he thinks. And with that, here it is. Mr. Caesar, thank you. Last month, you completely eradicated the town of Nipton. You made the people play a game of lottery in order to see who dies and who lives. You had some of those people burnt alive while having people nailed to a cross. Tell me, don't you think such barbaric methods would not win the people over and only drum up support to the NCR?
To throw such a question at me, Mr. Tucker, are we having a talk show or a serious conversation?
Here's the quote. Thank you.
But if you wish to pry an answer out of me, you need to understand, Mr. Tucker, why Nipton needed to be eradicated. Nipton was a cesspool of vice and degeneracy, a festering sore on the Mojave. Its inhabitants reveled in chaos and treachery, unworthy of the land they occupied. Their fate was a demonstration of the consequences of moral decay. In destroying Nipton, we cleansed the land and sent a message to all who would oppose order and discipline. Barbarism is subjective. What some see as brutality, I see as the means to forge a new society. The wasteland is a harsh and unforgiving place, and to survive, one must be willing to do what is necessary. My methods may seem extreme to those bound by the old ways, but they are essential for the establishment of true order and civilization. In the crucible of conflict, the weak are purged, and the strong emerge victorious. Only through strength can we build a future worth living in.
But why, Caesar, did you need to burn down the city? Surely keeping the city intact would be beneficial to you.
Mr. Tucker, in order for me to even answer your question, there's some facts you should know first. Now, from what my spies tell me about you, is that your basic education is in history, correct?
Yes.
Then, if you don't mind, I will need to explain the history of the Roman Empire. This will only take about a minute or two.
Please.
Rome, once a humble city-state nestled along the Tiber River, rose to become one of the most formidable empires the world has ever known. Its journey from a republic to an empire is a testament to the ambition, cunning, and resilience of its people. In the early days, Rome was a republic governed by elected officials known as senators. This period, known as the Roman Republic, saw Rome expand its influence across the Italian peninsula through military conquest and diplomatic maneuvering. However, internal strife and political turmoil eventually led to the decline of the Republic. In its place emerged a series of powerful leaders, including Julius Caesar himself, who sought to consolidate power and establish themselves as rulers. Julius Caesar's rise to power marked the beginning of the Roman Empire. Under his rule, and later that of his adopted son Augustus, Rome experienced a period of unprecedented expansion and prosperity. The empire stretched from Britain in the west to the Euphrates River in the east, encompassing diverse cultures and peoples. Rome's achievements were not limited to military conquest. It was a center of art, architecture, philosophy, and law. Roman engineering marvels, such as aqueducts and roads, facilitated communication and trade throughout the empire. However, Rome's greatness was not eternal. Internal strife, economic instability, and external threats eventually weakened the empire. Barbarian invasions, civil wars, and political corruption hastened its decline. Yet, despite its eventual fall, Rome's legacy endures. Its contributions to art, literature, governance, and law have shaped Western civilization for millennia. The story of Rome serves as a cautionary tale of the dangers of hubris and the fragility of power, but also as a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. The history of Rome is a saga of triumphs and tribulations, a tale that spans centuries and shapes the very fabric of civilization. It begins with the legendary founding of the city by Romulus and Remus, twins raised by a she-wolf. From these humble beginnings, Rome grew into a powerhouse of the ancient world. In its early years, Rome was a republic, governed by elected officials and guided by principles of democracy and rule of law. During this time, Rome expanded its influence across the Italian peninsula through a series of wars and alliances. The republic was marked by a delicate balance of power between the aristocracy, represented by the Senate, and the common people. However, internal strife and external threats would soon test the resilience of the republic. The Punic Wars against Carthage, led by generals like Scipio Africanus, catapulted Rome to prominence in the Mediterranean world. Yet these conflicts also exposed the deep-seated social and economic inequalities within Roman society. Amidst this turmoil, individuals such as Julius Caesar emerged as towering figures, seeking to seize power and reshape the course of history. Caesar's assassination marked a turning point, leading to a power struggle between his successors and eventually paving the way for the rise of the Roman Empire. Under the emperors, Rome reached the zenith of its power and influence. The reign of Augustus, the first emperor, ushered in an era of relative stability known as the Pax Romana. During this time, Rome expanded its borders to encompass much of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Rome's cultural achievements during this period were equally impressive. From the majestic architecture of the Colosseum and the Pantheon, to the timeless works of poets like Virgil and historians like Tacitus, Roman civilization left an indelible mark on the world. Yet, Rome's glory was not to last. Internal strife, economic decline, and barbarian invasions weakened the empire from within. The sack of Rome by Visigoths in 410 AD and the eventual fall of the Western Roman Empire in 476 AD marked the end of an era. But Rome's legacy endured. Its language, laws, and institutions continued to shape Western civilization for centuries to come. The Roman Empire may have crumbled, but its spirit lives on in the annals of history, a testament to the enduring power of human ambition and resilience. The fall of Rome is a cautionary tale, a culmination of internal weaknesses and external pressures that ultimately led to the collapse of an empire that once seemed invincible. Firstly, Rome faced internal challenges that eroded its strength from within. Political instability, marked by a succession of weak and corrupt emperors, undermined the empire's ability to govern effectively. The rampant power struggles among competing factions within the ruling class weakened Rome's unity and cohesion. Economic woes also plagued the empire. Excessive taxation, coupled with inflation and debasement of currency, impoverished both the populace and the state. Rome's vast territorial holdings became increasingly difficult to manage, stretching its resources thin and straining its infrastructure. Social unrest further exacerbated Rome's troubles. The growing divide between the wealthy elite and the impoverished masses fueled discontent and rebellion. Slavery, while essential to the economy, created social tensions and displaced free labor, contributing to economic disparities and social upheaval. Externally, Rome faced relentless assaults from barbarian invaders and rival powers. The pressure on its frontiers stretched its military thin, forcing it to rely on mercenaries and barbarian auxiliaries whose loyalty was often uncertain. The failure to effectively defend its borders weakened Rome's ability to project power and maintain control over its territories. In the end, Rome's decline was not the result of any single cause, but a combination of internal decay and external threats. The empire had grown too large, too complex, and too burdened by its own contradictions to survive indefinitely. Yet, even in its twilight years, Rome left a lasting legacy. Its language, laws, and culture continued to shape the course of history long after its fall. The story of Rome serves as a reminder of the fragility of empires and the importance of addressing internal weaknesses before they lead to irreversible decline. Despite all of this, Rome was the pinnacle of human achievement, a civilization built on strength, discipline, and unity. Just as I seek to unify the wasteland under a single banner, Rome sought to bring order to the chaos of the ancient world. We share a vision of greatness, of a society where the strong lead and the weak follow. Rome was not without its flaws, of course. But what empire is? The Romans understood that to maintain order, sometimes harsh measures were necessary. It was a civilization built on the backs of slaves, yes, but it was also a civilization that brought law and governance to vast swathes of the known world. In many ways, my legion embodies the spirit of ancient Rome. We are disciplined, organized, and ruthless when necessary. But we also offer stability and security to those who submit to our authority. Rome may have fallen, but its legacy lives on in the ideals we strive to uphold. So you see, Mr. Tucker, the choice to model my legion after Rome is not mere happenstance. It is a deliberate homage to one of history's greatest civilizations and a recognition of the timeless principles it embodies. Rome was not just an empire of conquest. It was a civilization built on order, discipline, and strength. It provided stability and security to its citizens, while also fostering a sense of duty and purpose. These are the values that form the foundation of my legion. By emulating Rome, We seek to create a society that is strong, united, and capable of withstanding the challenges of the wasteland. Our strict hierarchy, martial discipline, and reverence for authority are all borrowed from the Roman model, designed to instill a sense of purpose and belonging among our ranks. But our debt to Rome goes beyond mere imitation. We also draw inspiration from its achievements and its failures. We study its history, its triumphs, and its defeats, learning from both its successes and its mistakes. Rome's legacy is not just one of conquest, but also of culture and civilization. It produced some of the greatest works of art, literature, and philosophy the world has ever known. In seeking to emulate Rome, we aspire not just to conquer, but to build something lasting and meaningful in the wasteland. Ultimately, my legion is more than just an army. It is a vision of a new world order, forged in the crucible of history and driven by the ideals of Rome. It is a testament to the enduring power of civilization in the face of chaos and destruction. My legion is not merely a copy of ancient Rome. It is an evolution, a refinement of its principles, and a rejection of its shortcomings. While Rome ultimately fell due to internal decay and external pressures, my legion has been built to withstand such threats. We have learned from Rome's mistakes. We have established a strict hierarchy and a culture of discipline to prevent the corruption and infighting that plagued the Roman Empire. Our focus on martial prowess and military efficiency ensures that we can defend ourselves against external threats. But we have also adapted. We recognize that the wasteland is a harsh and unforgiving place, and that survival requires more than just strength of arms. That is why we have incorporated elements of tribal culture into our society, forging alliances and assimilating tribes into our ranks. Moreover, we have a vision for the future. We seek to create a new world order, one based on order, discipline, and unity. We offer stability and security to those who submit to our authority, while punishing those who would oppose us. In short, my legion will not fall because we have learned from history and adapted accordingly. We are not bound by the mistakes of the past. We are forging a new path forward, one that will endure long after the empires of old have crumbled into dust.
Right, so I understand why you would use Rome's fundamental structure as the basis of your legion army. But with all due respect, Mr. Caesar, this doesn't answer why you would wipe Nipton off the map.
The destruction of certain places serves a crucial purpose in the establishment of my legion's authority and the imposition of order upon the wasteland. We cannot allow havens of chaos and lawlessness to persist unchecked, for they pose a threat to the stability and security of our society. By destroying these places, we send a clear message to all who would oppose us, that we will not tolerate dissent or defiance. It is a demonstration of our strength and our willingness to assert our dominance over the wasteland. But our actions are not without purpose. We do not destroy indiscriminately. Rather, we target those places that harbor criminals, degenerates, and other threats to civilized society. In doing so, we cleanse the land and pave the way for a new order, one based on discipline, obedience, and unity. Burning down cities is not an act of senseless destruction, but rather a calculated strategy to assert dominance and enforce discipline in the wasteland. My legion does not tolerate weakness or defiance. We seek to create a society founded on strength, order, and obedience. When a city stands as a symbol of resistance or harbors those who oppose us, it becomes a threat to the stability and security of our society. By burning it down, we send a clear message to all who would oppose us, that we will not tolerate dissent or insubordination. But our actions are not without purpose. We target cities that refuse to submit to our authority or pose a threat to our operations. In doing so, we demonstrate our strength and our willingness to do whatever it takes to achieve victory.
With supplies being limited, surely, allowing the city to stand would have helped you and your army and save resources and manpower to rebuild it.
The destruction and subsequent rebuilding of a city are strategic moves aimed at establishing my legion's authority and fostering a new order in the wasteland. When a city has fallen into chaos or refuses to submit to our rule, it becomes necessary to dismantle its existing structures and rebuild it in our image. By destroying and rebuilding, we erase the old ways and establish a foundation upon which our ideals can flourish. It allows us to impose order, discipline, and unity, principles that are essential for the survival and prosperity of our society. The decision to destroy a city rather than inhabit it is not taken lightly, but it is a necessary step in our quest to forge a new world order in the wasteland. Some cities are irredeemable, tainted by the corruption and decay of the old world. To inhabit such places would be to inherit their sins and perpetuate their cycle of destruction. By destroying these cities, we cleanse the land and rid it of the vestiges of the past. We make a clean slate upon which to build our vision of a society founded on strength, order, and discipline. It is a bold and decisive move, but one that is essential for the survival and prosperity of my legion. Some may question the wisdom of such actions, but in the harsh realities of the wasteland, tough decisions must be made. We cannot afford to compromise our principles or compromise our vision for the sake of convenience. My legion will do whatever it takes to achieve victory, even if it means sacrificing the comforts of city life for the greater good of our cause. Also, Mr. Tucker, with rebuilding a city under my legion's control will be a straightforward task, thanks to the disciplined structure and vast resources at our disposal. Unlike the fractured and chaotic societies of the wasteland, my legion operates with military precision and unwavering loyalty. We have the manpower to undertake any construction project, the logistical expertise to allocate resources efficiently, and the discipline to ensure that every task is carried out with maximum efficiency. Our legionaries are trained to follow orders without question, ensuring that our plans are executed swiftly and effectively. Furthermore, we possess the willpower and determination to see the task through to completion. My legion does not falter in the face of adversity. We thrive on challenges and overcome obstacles with unwavering resolve. But perhaps most importantly, we have a clear vision for the future. We know what we seek to achieve, a society founded on order, discipline, and unity. Rebuilding a city is not just about constructing buildings and roads. It is about creating a new world order, one that reflects the ideals of my legion. In short, rebuilding a city under my legion's control will be easy because we have the skill, the resources, and the determination to make it so. With our strength and resolve, there is no challenge we cannot overcome.
Right, let's move on, as I do have another question to some of your methods. Tell me, why do you crucify innocent families and sell their daughters into sex slavery?
In ancient Rome, slavery served as a fundamental component of the economy, society, and even the military. Several reasons contributed to the widespread use of slaves. Firstly, there's the economic foundation. Slavery provided a significant source of labor, essential for the functioning of the Roman economy. Slaves worked in various sectors such as agriculture, mining, construction, and manufacturing, allowing for the production of goods on a large scale and driving economic growth. Second, there's a social structure. Slavery was deeply ingrained in Roman society, with slaves constituting a significant portion of the population. They served as domestic servants, laborers, entertainers, and even tutors, enabling the free citizens to pursue more specialized roles in leisure activities. Thirdly, conquest and expansion. As Rome expanded its territory through conquest and warfare, the influx of captives and prisoners of war provided a continuous supply of slaves. Conquered peoples were often enslaved and integrated into the Roman economy, further fueling the demand for slave labor. The fourth reason is status symbol. Owning slaves was a symbol of wealth and social status in Roman society. Wealthy individuals and aristocrats amassed large numbers of slaves to demonstrate their prosperity and enhance their prestige. The fifth reason is military support. Slaves played a crucial role in supporting the Roman military machine. They provided labor for the construction of military infrastructure such as roads, fortifications, and camps, as well as serving as auxiliaries and laborers in military campaigns. And lastly, the legal system. The Roman legal system provided extensive rights and powers to slave owners, allowing them to exert control over their slaves and enforce discipline through coercion and punishment. This legal framework facilitated the widespread use of slavery as an institution. In ancient Rome, slavery was an integral part of the economy and society, serving a variety of roles essential for the functioning of the empire. Slaves provided the labor needed to cultivate crops, construct buildings, and maintain infrastructure such as roads and aqueducts. They were also employed in households as servants and artisans, freeing up Roman citizens to pursue more specialized roles in society. While slavery is often viewed through a modern lens as a moral outrage, in the context of ancient Rome, it was seen as a practical solution to the empire's labor needs. Conquest and expansion brought an influx of captives who were often enslaved, contributing to the growth and prosperity of Rome. But it is important to note that not all slaves in Rome were treated the same. While some faced harsh conditions and brutal treatment, others enjoyed a degree of autonomy and even the opportunity for advancement. Slavery in Rome was a complex institution with a range of experiences depending on factors such as occupation, social status, and the temperament of individual masters. Ultimately, the use of slaves in Rome was a reflection of the society's values and priorities. While it undoubtedly contributed to the empire's economic success, it also perpetuated inequalities and injustices that would eventually contribute to its decline. In the wasteland, we face similar challenges, and like the Romans, we must make difficult choices to ensure the survival and prosperity of our society. Slavery in ancient Rome was deeply ingrained in the fabric of society, playing a pivotal role in shaping its economy, culture, and power dynamics. From the early days of the Republic to the height of the empire, slaves were a ubiquitous presence in Rome, performing a wide range of tasks essential for the functioning of society. Captives from conquests and wars were a primary source of slaves in Rome, with individuals from various regions and backgrounds finding themselves subjected to servitude. These slaves were put to work in agriculture, mining, construction, household service, and even as skilled artisans and tutors. The institution of slavery in Rome was not static. It evolved over time, influenced by factors such as economic conditions, social norms, and legal reforms. While some slaves endured harsh conditions and exploitation, others enjoyed relative privileges and opportunities for advancement, particularly those who served in skilled or specialized roles. Slavery in Rome was governed by a complex set of laws and customs that dictated the rights and treatment of slaves. While slaves were considered property and lacked many of the freedoms afforded to free citizens, they were not without recourse. Some masters were known to treat their slaves with kindness and respect, while others faced punishment for mistreatment or abuse. Despite its prevalence, slavery in Rome was not without controversy. Philosophers and moralists debated the ethics of slavery, and slave uprisings and revolts were not uncommon. Over time, the institution of slavery came under increasing scrutiny, eventually contributing to its decline with the rise of Christianity and changing social attitudes. In the wasteland, the parallels to ancient Rome are clear. Like the Romans, we face challenges and dilemmas in the use of slavery, balancing practical necessity with moral considerations. The history of slavery in Rome serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the complexities and consequences of such practices in society.
Right, but with all due respect, Caesar, this doesn't answer why you would crucify people and the use of sex slaves.
Mr. Tucker, do not interrupt me again. I am getting to that part. In ancient Rome, crucifixion was a form of execution used primarily for slaves, criminals, and enemies of the state. The practice served several purposes. Firstly, it was a deterrence. Crucifixion was a brutal and public method of execution designed to deter others from committing similar crimes or acts of rebellion. The sight of individuals suffering on crosses served as a stark warning to the populace of the consequences of defying Roman authority. Secondly, it was used as a punishment. Crucifixion was reserved for the most serious offenses, including treason, rebellion, and violent crimes. It was considered a particularly shameful and agonizing form of punishment, intended to inflict maximum suffering on the condemned. Thirdly, it was used as political control. Crucifixion was also used as a tool of political control, particularly in times of unrest or instability. Executing perceived threats to the state in a public and humiliating manner helped to assert the authority of the ruling regime and maintain order among the populace. Lastly, symbolism. Crucifixion carried symbolic significance in Roman culture. It was associated with shame, degradation, and the ultimate defeat of the condemned individual. By subjecting individuals to crucifixion, the Romans sought to reinforce their own power and superiority over those they deemed inferior or rebellious. Overall, crucifixion served as a means of social control, punishment, and political assertion in ancient Rome. It was a brutal practice that reflected the values and priorities of Roman society, where power and authority were paramount. This is why, Mr. Tucker, the use of crucifixion serves a dual purpose in my legion. It is both a punishment for those who defy our authority and a deterrent to others who would dare to challenge us. Crucifixion is a brutal and public display of power, sending a clear message that we will not tolerate disobedience or rebellion. In the harsh realities of the wasteland, strength is paramount. Those who are weak or defy our authority must be dealt with swiftly and decisively. Crucifixion serves as a means of instilling fear and maintaining order among our subjects. It is a reminder of the consequences of defiance and a warning to all who would oppose us. But make no mistake, crucifixion is not a punishment meted out arbitrarily. Those who suffer this fate have earned it through their actions, whether through betrayal, insubordination, or other crimes against my legion. It is a punishment befitting their crimes, a punishment that ensures they will never challenge us again. Some may view crucifixion as barbaric or excessive, but in the wasteland, extreme measures are often necessary to maintain order and ensure survival. My legion will not hesitate to do what is necessary to achieve victory, even if it means resorting to methods that others may find distasteful. In the end, it is strength that will prevail, and my legion will be the one to wield it.
So, if you don't mind me asking, why sell and use sex slaves?
The use of sex slaves, often referred to as concubines or sex workers, was prevalent in ancient Rome, reflecting the attitudes towards sexuality, gender, and social hierarchy of the time. Here's an overview of sex slaves in Rome. Firstly, the sources of sex slaves. Sex slaves in Rome were typically acquired through various means, including capture in warfare, purchase from slave markets, or birth into slavery. They came from diverse backgrounds and ethnicities, reflecting the cosmopolitan nature of the Roman Empire. Secondly, their roles and duties. Sex slaves served primarily as objects of sexual pleasure for their owners. They were often kept in households or brothels and subjected to exploitation and abuse. Some sex slaves were trained in the arts of seduction and entertainment to cater to the desires of their masters and clients. Thirdly, their legal status. Sex slaves had few legal rights and protections under Roman law. They were considered the property of their owners and had little recourse in cases of mistreatment or abuse. While some owners may have treated their slaves with relative kindness, others subjected them to harsh conditions and exploitation. The fourth reason is their social acceptance. The use of sex slaves was widely accepted and normalized in Roman society. particularly among the upper classes. It was seen as a sign of wealth and status to own concubines and indulge in sexual excesses. The practice was not limited to men. Wealthy women also owned male sex slaves, known as concubinus. The fifth reason is the use of brothels and red light districts. In addition to private households, sex slaves were also employed in brothels and red light districts, where they catered to the sexual desires of clients from all walks of life. These establishments were regulated by the state and served as venues for both pleasure and commerce. Lastly, their cultural depictions. The use of sex slaves was a common theme in Roman art, literature, and entertainment. Erotic paintings, sculptures, and literary works often depicted scenes of sexual encounters involving slaves, reflecting the hedonistic attitudes towards sexuality prevalent in Roman society. Overall, the use of sex slaves was a widespread and accepted practice in ancient Rome, reflecting the attitudes towards power, pleasure, and social hierarchy prevalent in the Roman Empire. The use of sex slaves in my legion serves a dual purpose. It satisfies the desires of my men and reinforces their loyalty and obedience. In the harsh world of the wasteland, strength is paramount, and it is essential to maintain the morale and discipline of my forces. By providing my soldiers with access to sex slaves, I ensure that their physical needs are met, and their loyalty to the Legion is strengthened. It is a reward for their service and a means of bonding them to our cause. Furthermore, the use of sex slaves reflects the hierarchical nature of my Legion. Just as I exert control over my soldiers, so too do they exert control over their slaves. It reinforces their sense of power and authority, fostering a culture of dominance and obedience within our ranks. But make no mistake, the use of sex slaves is not without its moral complexities. It is a brutal and dehumanizing practice, one that I do not take lightly. However, in the unforgiving world of the wasteland, tough decisions must be made to ensure the survival and prosperity of my Legion. Some may view our use of sex slaves as barbaric or immoral, but in the end, it is a necessary sacrifice for the greater good. My Legion will do whatever it takes to achieve victory, even if it means resorting to methods that others may find distasteful. It is strength that will prevail, and my Legion will be the one to wield it.
But why would you kill innocent people to obtain these sex slaves?
The killing of innocent people is regrettable but sometimes necessary in the harsh reality of the wasteland. My Legion operates under the principle of strength, where the strong dominate the weak and impose their will upon the world. In pursuit of this vision, sacrifices must be made, even if it means the loss of innocent lives. However, it is important to understand that innocence is a relative concept in the wasteland. In a world where survival is paramount, everyone is complicit in some way, whether through action or inaction. Those who stand in the way of my Legion or refuse to submit to our authority are considered obstacles to be removed, regardless of their innocence in the eyes of others. Furthermore, the killing of innocents serves as a deterrent to others who would dare to oppose us. It sends a clear message that resistance will not be tolerated, and that those who defy us will suffer the consequences. Fear is a powerful tool in maintaining control, and sometimes it is necessary to remind the wasteland of the consequences of defiance. Make no mistake, the killing of innocents weighs heavily on my conscience, but in the end, it is a necessary sacrifice for the greater good. My Legion will do whatever it takes to achieve victory, even if it means making difficult choices that others may find distasteful. It is strength that will prevail, and my Legion will be the one to wield it.
But surely this method will only strengthen support to the NCR. I mean, using such tactics in an already harsh world where people want to live, coincide one another would only push people to follow the laws and teaching of the NCR.
The New California Republic, or NCR, is a sprawling democracy that emerged from the ashes of the old world. Founded by survivors who sought to rebuild civilization in the aftermath of the Great War, the NCR grew from a small group of settlers in California into a powerful political entity that spans much of the former United States. The NCR prides itself on its democratic values and commitment to the rule of law. It boasts a government elected by the people, with a president at its helm, and a Senate to represent the interests of its diverse population. It seeks to bring order and stability to the wasteland through governance, infrastructure development, and economic growth. However, for all its lofty ideals, the NCR is plagued by corruption, inefficiency, and bureaucratic bloat. Its leaders are more interested in expanding their power and influence than in addressing the needs of their citizens. Its military, while formidable, is overstretched and undertrained, unable to maintain control over the territories it claims to govern. The NCR's quest for expansion has also brought it into conflict with other factions and communities, including my Legion. Its aggressive expansionism threatens to destabilize the region and undermine the delicate balance of power that exists in the wasteland. In the end, the NCR is a flawed and fragile democracy, a relic of the old world struggling to survive in a world that has moved on. It is a symbol of the past, clinging to outdated ideals and doomed to repeat the mistakes of history. Not to mention that the NCR is a bloated, corrupt bureaucracy driven by greed and ambition rather than the welfare of its citizens. Its leaders are more interested in expanding their power and influence than in addressing the needs of the people they claim to represent. Under the guise of democracy, the NCR oppresses its citizens with taxes, regulations, and a suffocating bureaucracy. It promises freedom and prosperity, but delivers only inequality and injustice. Its cities are plagued by crime, poverty, and social unrest, while its politicians grow fat on the spoils of corruption. Moreover, the NCR lacks the strength and discipline necessary to maintain order in the wasteland. Its military is overstretched and undertrained, unable to control the territories it claims to govern. It relies on mercenaries and hired guns to enforce its will, rather than instilling loyalty and obedience in its own ranks. In contrast, my Legion offers stability, security, and a clear sense of purpose. We provide order in a chaotic world, discipline in a lawless land. Our soldiers are loyal and obedient, willing to sacrifice everything for the glory of the Legion. The people of the wasteland will not support the NCR because they see through its lies and deception. They know that true strength lies not in numbers or wealth, but in unity of purpose and unwavering resolve. And that is something that only my Legion can offer. The Legion's victory over the NCR is not a matter of chance, but rather a result of careful planning, superior discipline, and unwavering commitment to our cause. While the NCR may outnumber us and possess greater resources, they lack the strength and resolve necessary to defeat us. Firstly, the Legion's military superiority is unmatched in the wasteland. Our soldiers are disciplined and highly trained, capable of executing complex maneuvers and strategies with precision. We do not rely on mercenaries or hired guns, but rather on the strength and unity of our own ranks. Secondly, the Legion's ideological cohesion gives us an edge over the fragmented and corrupt bureaucracy of the NCR. While the NCR squabbles over politics and petty power struggles, we remain united in our vision of a hierarchical society governed by strength and discipline. Our soldiers are willing to sacrifice everything for the glory of the Legion, while the NCR's troops lack the same level of commitment and loyalty. Finally, the Legion's control over the Mojave Wasteland gives us a strategic advantage over the NCR. Our forces are well entrenched and fortified, making it difficult for the NCR to launch successful offensives against us. We control the flow of resources and information in the region, while the NCR struggles to maintain control over its vast territories. In the end, the Legion's victory over the NCR is inevitable. We possess the strength, the discipline, and the unity necessary to achieve victory, while the NCR is plagued by corruption, inefficiency, and internal discord. The Mojave Wasteland will fall to the Legion, and we will usher in a new era of order and stability for all who submit to our authority. You need to remember, Mr. Tucker, that the Legion and the NCR are two sides of the same coin, both seeking to impose their vision of order and control upon the wasteland. While our methods may differ, our ultimate goals are remarkably similar: the establishment of a stable and prosperous society governed by a strong central authority. In the end, both the NCR and the Legion seek to impose their will upon the wasteland, using whatever means necessary to achieve their goals. While our methods may be different, our ultimate objectives are remarkably similar. And in the struggle for control of the Mojave, only one of us can prevail.
But with that being said, this doesn't explain why kill innocent people who pose no threat to you and use and sell women as sex slaves.
Mr. Tucker, I swear to fucking God, if you interrupt me one more time, I will have my Praetorians hack you to death. Now, where was I? Ah, yes, the wastelands. The wasteland is a brutal and unforgiving place where survival is a daily struggle and death lurks around every corner. The devastation wrought by the Great War has left the world scarred and poisoned, with resources scarce and dangers aplenty. Radiation, mutated creatures, and lawless gangs are just a few of the hazards that plague the wasteland. The very air we breathe and the water we drink are tainted with the remnants of nuclear fallout, posing a constant threat to our health and well-being. In such a hostile environment, only the strongest and most resourceful can hope to survive. But beyond the physical dangers, the wasteland is also a harsh and unforgiving landscape on a moral level. In the absence of law and order, morality has become a luxury few can afford. It is a world where might makes right, where the strong prey upon the weak, and where compassion is seen as weakness. Yet, amidst the desolation and despair, there is also opportunity. The wasteland is a blank canvas upon which we can build a new world, free from the corruption and decadence of the old. It is a test of our strength, our resilience, and our will to survive. In the end, the wasteland is harsh because it reflects the harsh realities of human nature. It is a reminder of the fragility of civilization and the brutality of existence. But it is also a crucible in which we can forge a new future, if only we have the courage and the determination to seize it. Women in the Legion serve a vital role in maintaining our strength and unity. They are not mere objects of pleasure, but valuable assets who contribute to the functioning of our society. By keeping women as slaves, we assert our dominance and control over those who would seek to oppose us. It is a necessary measure to ensure the stability and security of the Legion. Furthermore, women in the Legion are not without agency. They are valued members of our society who are afforded certain rights and privileges. While they may not hold positions of authority, they play a crucial role in supporting our soldiers and contributing to the overall strength of the Legion. In the end, keeping women as slaves is not a decision taken lightly. It is a pragmatic measure necessary for the survival of our society in the harsh and unforgiving world of the wasteland. It is a means of asserting our strength and implementing our vision of a hierarchical society where order is maintained through discipline and obedience.
Moving on, let me ask you this, Cesar. What is your ultimate goal in all of this?
My ultimate plan for the wasteland is one of conquest and transformation. I seek to forge a new world, free from the corruption and decadence of the old. It is a world where strength and discipline reign supreme, where order is maintained through force and obedience. Firstly, I will continue to expand the territory of the Legion, bringing more and more communities under our control. Through diplomacy, coercion, and force of arms, we will unite the wasteland under a single banner, bending all to our will. Secondly, I will implement my vision of a hierarchical society, where the strong dominate the weak and order is maintained through discipline and obedience. Those who oppose us will be crushed beneath our heel, while those who submit will be rewarded with safety and security. Finally, I will bring an end to the chaos and lawlessness that plagues the wasteland, establishing a new world order based on the principles of strength, discipline, and unity. The Legion will be the dominant power in the wasteland, and all who inhabit it will bow before us. But make no mistake, my ultimate plan is not one of tyranny or oppression. It is a vision of order and stability, where the wasteland can flourish under the firm hand of the Legion. It is a future where strength triumphs over weakness, and where the will of the Legion prevails above all else. In the end, my ultimate plan is one of conquest, transformation, and the establishment of a new world order. It is a vision that I will stop at nothing to achieve, for the glory of the Legion and the prosperity of the wasteland. Once the Legion controls New Vegas, we will bring about a new era of law and order in this city of sin. No longer shall it be a haven for corruption and decadence. Under the firm hand of the Legion, New Vegas will become a shining beacon of discipline and strength. Firstly, we will purge the city of its criminal elements and corrupt influences. Those who defy the authority of the Legion will be dealt with swiftly and decisively. Order will be maintained through fear and obedience, ensuring that the citizens of New Vegas know their place in the new order. Secondly, we will establish a system of governance that reflects the principles of the Legion. A hierarchical society where the strong lead and the weak obey. Those who prove themselves worthy will be rewarded with positions of authority and responsibility, while those who oppose us will be crushed beneath our heel. Finally, we will ensure that the resources of New Vegas are put to good use for the betterment of the Legion. The wealth and technology of this city will be harnessed to fuel our war machine and further our goals of conquest and expansion. In the end, New Vegas will become a shining example of the power and glory of the Legion. It will be a city where order reigns supreme, where strength is rewarded, and where the will of Caesar prevails above all else.
If you were to have a chance to speak to the leaders of the NCR, what would you say to them?
I would tell the leaders of the NCR that you and we are not so different. We both seek to bring stability and prosperity to the people we lead. But where you see bureaucracy and corruption, I see strength and discipline. Where you see democracy, I see weakness and inefficiency. The Legion offers a better way. Under our rule, the wasteland can be united under a single banner, free from the petty squabbles and power struggles that plague your republic. We offer order, discipline, and security for all who submit to our authority. I understand that you may view us as a threat, but I assure you, we are not your enemies. We seek only to bring peace to the wasteland, to establish a new world order where strength and unity prevail. So I say to you, leaders of the NCR, let us put aside our differences and work together for the greater good. Let us forge a new future for the wasteland, one where our people can live in peace and prosperity. If you choose to oppose us, if you choose to stand in the way of progress, then you will suffer the consequences. The Legion is not to be trifled with, and those who defy us will be crushed beneath our heel. The choice is yours, leaders of the NCR. Choose wisely, for the fate of the wasteland hangs in the balance.
A very bold message. I also wanted to ask you another important question. What if you were to...
My head!
Wait, are you okay? You're looking a little pale there.
Yes, I am fine, Tucker. But my apologies, but I must ask you to take your leave. I am plagued by a crippling headache, a mere nuisance in the grand scheme of my ambitions, but one that requires my attention nonetheless. It is a reminder of my mortality, a fleeting moment of weakness in an otherwise indomitable spirit. You see, the burdens of leadership are heavy, and the trials of the wasteland take their toll on even the strongest among us. But fear not, for this headache shall pass, and I shall return stronger and more determined than ever before. For make no mistake, my vision for the wasteland remains unchanged. I will stop at nothing to achieve my goals, to bring order and stability to this chaotic world. The Legion will prevail, and all who stand in our way will fall before us. So I bid you farewell for now, but know that I shall return. ready to face whatever challenges the wasteland may throw our way, for the glory of the Legion.
That's no problem. Well, Caesar, it's been quite the conversation. While we may not see eye to eye on everything, I appreciate you sharing your perspective. Take care out there in the wasteland. And who knows, maybe our paths will cross again someday. And I hope we can have another conversation like this.